Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here. Hope it's all been a wonderful and blessed week. I hope y'all have all enjoyed the wonderful MCU Groups Explained video. That was a bit of a day late, and well, this is a video that is about 1 week late, but it is coming to you right here, right now. So, without any further ado, hope it's all been a wonderful, blessed week. Hope it's been wonderful. We're about halfway through, so if it hasn't, then I hope it gets better. Or the weekend is halfway to it. So today's video is how was the spring 2026 anime season? I watched 6 anime throughout the season that I started from beginning to end. 2 of these anime I am still watching as they are still ongoing. Um, and so I'll be talking strictly on the episodes that came out in the spring season. I have now started watching Witch Hat Atelier, which came out in this season. I may finish that before the weekly recap video. So, without any further ado, we have 6 anime to talk about, so let's get on into it. Alright, so first up, we have The Classroom of the Elite Season 4 with 16 episodes. I'll be doing each of these by describing it all, and then at the end of each one, I'll put a slide up showing the season poster and my overall rating in total. So, Classroom Elite Season 4 did more of the same, nothing really new or unexpected. People are still trying to get Ayana Koji expelled. We now have it where our our class 1D is now class 2. They are second years. Um, Horikita's brother is now gone and graduated, and so now we have Nagamo, who is the new president. We have confrontation with Nagamo. We have confrontation with the new class 1 as they were given a special mission to get Ayana Koji expelled. And as a reward, they would be giving 10 million points. 10 million points to be used for themselves. And so that was the overall overarching plot point throughout the entire season 4. We also have the new chairman that is currently around that wants Ayana Koji expelled. And we have 1 or 2 people from the White Room that are coming in as antagonists. We have Class 2 pretty much protecting Ayana Koji and acknowledging that Class 1 is a decent threat. And so they semi-unite over and make compromises, make deals, make negotiations that happen all throughout in order to get them to certain points and in order to get them throughout the season with most of everyone intact. We have deals and negotiations. We have bets and all that being made all throughout the season, especially through the final arc, through year 2 of the island test, which we also saw in, I believe, the first season. It is now back for season 4, but with modifications and differences. So season 4 was more of the same, and so overall, I gave Classroom of the Elite 7.5 out of 10. It was good, but not great. Not the best season overall. I would say season 1 and or 3 were better overall. It's not the worst. It's not the worst. It didn't. It's not. It's not the worst of a season of the show. It's not the best. It's just good overall. I can tell that we're building towards something, but also a reminder that that we're still in that we're now closer to the manga getting caught up, and that we're likely going to have the show run for a total of 9 seasons, as 3 seasons equal a year in total, and every season is a semester of sorts because Japan does run things differently. And so I'm anticipating seasons 5 and 6 to be better and to build off of season 4, as this was as most often like a season 1, a fresh and new look with many, many new characters. Off to the next one, which is, I do not remember actually. So now, second on this list is one of the two that I'm still watching, still active in, as this show will have 24 episodes for at least the first season, which I presume will be long and a longer running. It just seems like that way. And so that is suppressing a yawn. That is Daemons of the Shadow Realm. It is a anime about the supernatural, but it's also kind of shonen as well, where we see two twins are born with opposing different abilities and are supposed to bring balance and chaos to the world. We see a village getting raided, um, a young kid getting two god-like monsters as his daemons. Daemons are like curses, or like monsters or creatures that you can whip, and they're like your slaves or your allies or stuff like that, and help you along your journey. So a young kid about 15 years old who only knows is a village that seems like Japan from up until around the 1800s, because Japan did slowly develop and was slower to develop over time than the rest of the world. Japan is now caught up with the rest of the world, but up until about the 1900s, it was very slow in development and always behind the rest of the world. And so, Yuru um, grew up in olden times of just hunting and gathering in an old village on a high up mountain that's hard to get to from the outside. Whereas we have Asa, which their parents fled and were only able to take Asa with them, and the parents are now missing. Asa now has Seal, I believe, or break, because she is able to break and manipulate who has Daemons or not. Yoru and the collapse of his village lead him to discover the outside world and 21st century technology like cars, like um, indoor plumbing or outdoor plumbing, like hotels, like big skyscrapers, and all the sort. We are slowly introduced to more and more of how this world is like. We have we have the Kagamori clan, which is like a pseudo anti-hero type of faction. They're obviously not good, but they're definitely not the worst of the worst yet. We're slowly introduced to some of the terrible, worst of worst Damons, um, and stuff like that. The plot is slowly thickening, and for the first couple episodes, it's high, high, then a slow interlude, then high, high, which is a very good show, in my opinion, for it to go very high action. We build up over a few episodes, then high, and now we're pretty much in the building up phase of more towards newer stuff in the second half. And so overall, I gave Daemons of the Shadow Realm 7.75. As it had a little bit more action, and it's definitely showing signs of more and more development. It's also that it's getting 12 more episodes right away than than rather than I'm gonna have to wait 2+ years or so to get just 12 more episodes. All right, coming in at third at our halfway point of overall, we have The Beginning After the End Season 2, which I found to be slightly disappointing because at the end of Season 1, we were shown that we were possibly getting the Academy um, in this season, and so I was disappointed overall because I was highly, highly, highly anticipating and waiting for the Academy. And well, we were at the academy at the last episode of the season, and I don't mind the fact that we're adventuring and having fun and expanding and doing all this lore and making sure our characters are ready for the academy. It's just, why did you tease us going to the academy at the end of season 1 if we're not going to be at the academy until the end of season 2? Doesn't make any logical sense to me. You could have teased some of the bigger foes or something in the adventuring aspect before teasing the academy because it misled me to believe, oh, we're going to the academy. No, we're gonna adventure for for about 10 of the episodes and then chill and relax and then have the academy introduction. Doesn't make any logical sense at all. If you're going to introduce the aspect or the possibility of something happening towards the next season and it doesn't happen until the last episode of that next season, the whole season's a disappointment because of what I saw at the end of the previous season. You don't build up hype to wait for it until the end of the next season. That's not how that works. If the last episode of season one didn't do that, it would be so much higher. But because it did that, it's only 7.5 because it's overall a great season, but the whole season I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for the Academy. I was expecting like the last fourth of the season to at least be the Academy since you teased that thing. Literally, you teased it. Overall, it's a great and wonderful season. But the end of season one teased the Academy. And so I will harp on that because you don't tease something if you're not going to do it until the end of the next season. It doesn't make any logical sense. The season was great. It's wonderful. Adventuring is fun. I love watching anime that are about adventuring and adventurers and them going on adventures that are perilous, people dying, and watching the emotional toll that people go through. It's just the end of season one that gets me. Alright, now we have in our fourth anime overall. These are just the order that I ended up designing the slides, and so this is just ordering. It's not a ranking. There is no ranking except through the overall ratings of them. And so the fourth one is Dr. Stone, the final season. I believe this is like season four, part three. I don't like it whenever a season split up like this. I understand it now, but I still don't really like it. You're having us watch like 12, 13 episodes, wait like 3 months, watch 12, 13 episodes, wait like 3 to 6 months, watch the final bit. And so far, this is the best rated show of the bunch. But I found Dr. Stone, the final bit. It was a fun, enjoyable ride while it lasted. Um, it was fun. It was enjoyable. It expanded the world. They got through every resource that they needed to. They didn't lose. They completed their objective, and slowly over time, after traveling across the world to get resource after resource after resource, building rockets, making ships, remodeling ships to make it into a land vehicle, then remodeling again into going back as a ship, and so on and so forth. And takes its time carefully and actually acknowledges that this takes this amount of time, this amount of time, and this amount of time, taking logical time skips all throughout the show. And so overall, I love Dr. Stone. It's not a 10 out of 10. It will never be a 10 out of 10. If I was a science nerd, it would be a 10 out of 10, but I'm not a science nerd. I love this show. It's a great and wonderful show. Ultimately, it's an 8 out of 10 just because it was just okay. It was a great overall ending to the show. It was just no real surprises, all very much predictable, and no real villain per se. And the final confrontation wasn't as grand as I would like it, but it's fine. It's not the worst ending. There are many, many other shows and movies that have worse, way worse endings, and so I'll take the ending as it is. And so it's an 8 out of 10 for the final part of the final season. I will ultimately review the Dr. Stone show as a whole very soon in a couple of weeks on a Friday. Alright, so now we're in anime number 5, and I hope for this particular anime that this is the lowest I rate any part of this particular season for this anime, and that is that time I got reincarnated as a slime, season 4, Cour number 1 out of 5. Cour 2 is happening right now, and we don't know whether or not Cour 3 will continue through after Cour 2 or if we'll take a season break, which I'm fine with. We're getting greatness, we're getting good world building overall. Season 4, Part 1, or Cour 1, whichever one you want to call it, it was good. We did more world building. The Tempestura Federation has been added to the Big Nations Council. The confrontation against Maribel Rosso was a bit shorter than I would have liked it. The Gaia and Malim, or Chaos Dragon and Malim, whole fight was the most emotional, impactful thing of the season so far, and I love it. I cannot talk about the recent episodes here. If you want to talk about the recent episodes, I would suggest watching one of the weekly recaps. I can only go to episode um 12 or so, which stops it at which episode 12 of season 4 is only at Tempest Evolves. So there's a little bit of so Rimuru gets the sword and stuff, the whole Milim and Chaos Dragon, the whole Yuki and Maribel killing incident happens. I believe Yuki meets with Granville Rosso in episode 12, and a few other things, but more or less, um, the last few episodes I would almost say might have been better than the entirety of Core 1, as I thought Maribel would have been a longer term villain than what she was, and I think Core 2 might be setting up to have the most action in a season of That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime since the first half of season 3, which the first half of season 3 was Hinata versus Rimuru, the 7 Days Clergy, and the Holy Knights, and all that, before we went on to world building in its entirety on repeat forever. So I very hope, and I'm very much anticipating towards that. Ultimately, since this was just Core 1, this was a lot quicker towards an ending of a villain than I thought. It's only an 8 out of 10. If I were to guess, this is probably going to rise very, very higher overall for the whole season. The whole season is going to be nearly the entire length of the entire show so far. The show so far has 72 total episodes in the main part. The OVAs have another 6. This season is reportedly going to have about 60 episodes, which will continue until around the end of next year. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens overall. And we're supposedly throughout this entire season, by the time we end this, we're not even going to be done. We're reportedly going to be entering towards the final bit, which is insanely impressive in the feat of how long this one is, and goes to show that this will be one of the longer anime since the days of Black Clover and Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and those type of shows that just continued and continued past 200. I think this might be a show that reaches about 200 episodes. Also, My Hero as well. All right, now we have to end this the spring 2026 anime season. We have Wistoria Wand and Sword Season 2, the best anime of the entire spring season of anything I watched. Which had Atelier might be good, I don't know, but Wistoria Wand and Sword was the best anime of the entire spring anime season. If you want to argue with me, argue against a wall, or whatever you want to call it, argue with me in the comments, and we can discuss our differing or possibly same opinions about this show. Wistoria started off season 2 right off the cases. We get towards graduation, but we have this big day with where all the Magia Bonder have to protect the barrier, but then darkness arises and we have to face anti-magic beings. With all these anti-magic swords, Will goes through and realizes the true power of the sword, the fifth and ancient art, towards having a rightful place on the council eventually. This is a show that I heavily loved in season 1, and season 2 blew season 1 out of the waters, out of the wazoo. It went from here all the way to the stratosphere with how great and amazing the season was. It definitely had a low point at some points, but we are slowly discovering how powerful Will can become and how he will eventually become a Majavander, but he will have the new and improved seat on the Majavander next to Elfie and all the others as well. I predict that by the end of Wistoria Wand and Sword, will replace Aaron as that Majavander. He will be the sword Majavander and replace the eldest among them. This is a great and wonderful season. We saw two Majavander fight against each other. We saw two blooms happen where Will fought, got their respect. A science guy wanted to use him as an experiment, so called for a second bloom, which happened in a week. Will passed, but didn't go with Elfie. We had celebration, party, and feast. They all graduated from high school and are effectively now in college as wizards. That's basically how it feels, and they're climbing the tower, hoping to all become legendary beings in their society with large legacies. This is by far my favorite anime of the season, and I cannot talk much more about it. It is amazing and it is lights out. A 9.5 out of 10. If every episode was top tier, it would be a 10 out of 10. Of course, it didn't have every episode be perfect as it was. I still loved every episode, but overall, it is a 9.5 out of 10. I reserve 10 out of 10s for shows or 5 out of 5s for books and stuff, or, well, movies, for the best and near perfect of a show or movie or book, and so it's very hard for me to give that. Wistoria Wand and Sword Season 2, the final of these 6 anime that I watched over the course of the spring 2026 anime season, a 9.5 out of 10. Okay, I thank you all for watching this 22-minute long video of me recapping my thoughts of the 6 anime that I watched over the course of this season. Now, as a recap, Classroom of the Elite Season 4, 7.5, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, well no, Classroom of the Elite Season 4, 7.5, The Beginning After the End Season 2, 7.5, Daemons of the Shadow Realm, 7.75. Dr. Stone, 8 out of 10. That time I got Reincarnated Slime Season 4, Cour, 1, 8 out of 10. Wistoria, Wand and Sword Season 2, the best of them, the best of the best, the best of this season, 9.5 out of 10. That is the 6 anime that I watched over the course of this anime season, and I can't wait to see how the summer continues to progress and how it shows that this is the season for new anime. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll be back here for Friday towards the finishing of the Marvel Netflix series. We did the Punisher, now we're on to the Defenders. Next week is Daredevil. In a few weeks, we'll be doing a full show review of Dr. Stone, so be looking out for that on Friday. And I have a special video planned for this Saturday that I very much am looking forward to. But I thank you all for watching. Even if you watched only one part of this video, I thank you. And I hope that you're subscribed and hitting that notification bell as we post 5 times every single week, 4 times in 4 days. And this is the only time that we take in between a break at all. Tuesday and Thursdays, no video, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are 4 videos in a row, and Wednesday is the fifth overall video. We run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday is a weekly recap of every single week and a look towards the future. I can't wait for the next couple of videos for what I have planned. But I thank you for watching. I'll leave you and edit this video and get it on out towards you. I thank you. Goodbye. God bless you all towards a wonderful and great afternoon.